Hi, I'm Ferdy Serum, and today I'd like to discuss with you the Concerns-Based Adoption Model, otherwise known as CBAM. You can find out a lot more about it and get workshops and webinars from CETL, which is an excellent source for this information. And this thumbnail captures the overview about what we can reasonably expect to encounter as we're transitioning to Common Core. The CBAM is a conceptual framework that's derived from over 10 years of research into what happens during the change process. It describes, explains, and predicts what probable teacher concerns are going to be and their behaviors throughout the change process. If we can know this, we can anticipate and address some of these things and have a much more successful implementation. So CBAM really looks at three different components. The first of these is the stages of concern, how we feel and perceive things in new programs and change. The next is the levels of use, and these are the actions and behaviors that we're going to see across the stages as an implementation or innovation rolls out. And finally, there are the innovation configurations, the different ways that these implementations can happen from most to least desirable. As we're exploring communication and collaboration, there are going to be many new practices that we introduce. And it can be frustrating to people who've been working in ed tech for a while, how it seems that no matter what types of powerful tools we introduce, things don't change. CBAM removes that mystery and helps guide us to more effective levels. It really has to do with moving from me to it to us. At the very beginning levels, awareness, a statement of concern might be, I'm not even concerned about it. Many of us talk to teachers who are just now hearing about Common Core for the first time, for example. At the informational level, there are people who want to know more about it. Everybody in this course has already decided that they wanted to know more about certain aspects of digital learning. And this is the key one. How is using this going to affect me? All of these have the me question in them. And if we don't address these, we will be sunk by the people whose concerns have not been met. But once we move beyond this stage, we begin to see where our focus is shifting. People might say, hey, I'm spending all of my time getting materials ready for the new LMS or for Google Docs or whatever tool we're using. And then we begin to wonder, how's this affecting my learners? Is there any way I can do it better? The key here is we're talking about the it now and not about me. We've moved into what the intervention is going to possibly do to help our students. Soon after that, we realize many other people are working on the same thing we are. Wouldn't it be more powerful if we could collaborate and work together? And after doing that for a while, we may even have ideas about how to make this entire innovation better than the way it was originally introduced. Now we're focusing on us. That's where the real power comes. So we want to transition from me to it to us. And this happens over time, but it happens differently when there's support and when there's not. Those of you who've been in education for a while have seen innovations come and go. And usually after about 3 years, they're replaced by another innovation because it didn't really work. It never got beyond the management aspect where I'm spending all my time on this new thing. We never got to the point where we're looking at the consequence. But with sustained support, coaching, and mentoring in 1 year, we can get to the level where we wouldn't even reach in 3 years without that support. And in 3 years with support, we get to the collaboration level where people are beginning to really refine what they're doing. And by 5 years, the little seedling has taken root and now can sustain. This is what we really want to see happening, but it can't happen without communication and collaboration, coaching and mentoring. The levels of use that come with these innovations are telling as well. At the red level, nobody's doing anything, nobody's taking any action, we can't expect much benefit from that. But at the orientation level, people are taking the initiative to learn more about the innovation. And then they're beginning to make plans to use it, they're preparing. Soon we get into the mechanical aspect where we're really making changes to make use of it, and it becomes routine. I've got it working, don't fix it if it ain't broke. we see that. This is where we might get to in 3 years without the coaching and mentoring, but we're not going to see the big gains of the innovation at this level. It's only when we go to the refinement level where we begin making changes to increase outcomes, and then when we work collectively at integration and renewal, where we see more effective alternatives. We've gone from me to it to us in our use of and behaviors as well. As you might expect, it's the same deal. Without coaching and mentoring, we never get past that routine level. But in 1 year with coaching and mentoring, we can get to the refinement level. And with 3 years of support, coaching, and mentoring, we will see the integration level happening. And by 5 years, we will be at the renewal level, so that these new innovations can take root and stick. As digital educators, we have to keep our eyes on the prize and not just look to see what's going to be happening 1 year or 2 years from now, but if it's worthwhile for our kids, we have to make sure it has staying power. So now it's your turn. Thinking about Common Core, thinking about digital learning, put a name and a face with each level. Who do you know that's really not concerned much about digital learning or Common Core? Who do you know that is seeking information and would like to know more about it, would be interested in talking with you about what you've learned? Who do you know that is at the point where they now understand how using it will affect them, and they've answered those concerns so that they're now willing to listen to you about new practices? When we get to those practices, who do you know that seems to be thinking about all the time they're investing in looking at aligning their practice with the 4 C's or college and career readiness? Who do you know who's beginning to see results and wants to know how they can tweak things so that the kids in their classroom are getting benefit from the it? Is there anybody you're working with that you can relate to in terms of how you're moving this practice ahead? Are there others you know who are coming up with improvements that could make things work better? These folks are your key team. There are going to be people at all rungs on this ladder. You need to know who they are so you can engage with them and move them ahead. In our next exercise, what we're going to do is look at your communications over a short period of time and see how they reflect the patterns of use. So I hope you found the CBAM model to be as useful and powerful as I have, and I look forward to seeing what you do with it in your daily work. Thank you very much.